Namaste, my name is Sanat Kumar. Welcome back to the Manana podcast. Manana is a Sanskrit word that means reflection or contemplation. In this podcast, I'll be sharing my deep, insightful reflections for you to contemplate and hence live a life of fulfillment. I hope you find great value in today's episode. Create is equal to art. In the episode 4, Live to Inspire Creatives, we saw what I call the magic cycle of inspiration. And through that, we now know that to constantly be in the loop of inspiration, we need to create and share. In that episode, we discussed why those two elements are important. Continuing the discussion further, in my book, I don't know whether you've read my book yet. I mentioned that's how most people can choose to love what they do and serve themselves and people at the same time. However, in this episode, I'd like to dive even more into create specifically. Even though create is a simple and easily understood verb, however, many times the meaning of it may veer of its real meaning. So, what is create? A process that involves creativity and self expression in such a blend that both those elements contribute originality to the process as well as to the product, and that is called creation. When I say create, I am referring you to being involved in such a process. So create is equal to creativity in bracket originality plus self expression, that is also bringing originality, or you can also say creativity is to originality. Art is that which has these characteristics. It's purely the process and the product of the process create. I'm not just saying art is equal to create. I'm saying create is equal to art. That is, if something is said to be created, it definitely must be art and art only. It, it might be even a new scientific invention. It is an art. Because don't you think that the inventor is trying to express himself through it? And of course, you'll agree that an invention involves creativity and creativity that's unique to the inventor's life. Don't you think so? By the way, please do not confuse discovering with inventing. To be real, there does not exist a creative work with self expression that's not original. If there's no originality, it's not purely creative work, nor is it truly self expression. Does that make sense? I've talked about this in one of my YouTube videos too. Self expression comes from individual, unique human experiences. Each individual's unique experience itself is that acts as a breeding ground for creativity too. Because unless there's a particular unique need in the individual's life, there's no need for creativity. We've known this quote, necessity is the mother of invention. And it need not even be mentioned that these experiences are what that gives us originality. So we are able to understand that one cannot separate creativity, originality, and self expression in the process of creating. But still, there's a lot of confusion among people regarding this process called create. They tend to express what's already expressed that resonated with them without no originality in terms of creativity used. I'll ask you this, if you make something that is the same as and has the same impact as another piece of creative work, then is your work really creative? Is your work truly unique self expression? Genuine attempts at mimicking something do not make it art. In other words, a genuine copy is still a copy, not art. Of course, mimicking nature is an exception to this statement because there is no other creation better than nature, and whatever we create is derived from nature itself. So we have to exclude that from this statement. In fact, mimicking nature is one of the purest forms of art, and there are people who tend to forget their originality and try to make something weird in hopes to make it a creative work. Simply weird. Simply weird is not art. I repeat, simply weird is not art. I think self expression is what gives this distinction. It is truly his or her own self expression that has the unique stroke of creativity, and that is art. I'd like to mention more quotes that I have written in the past related to this episode. All of them are true, and I've already shared them before, but they are worth mentioning again. I hope they act as reminders. An artist's duty is to make his creative thoughts, emotions, memory, and any form of self expression into a tangible piece of work, an artwork. Art is not just a skill,
Art is how one uses that skill. An artist is someone who uses his creativity and imagination more than mere intelligence and memory. The latter are necessary, yet just accessories in the process of creation. Creativity is a process where there's something intangible created, and it is an artist's duty to make that intangible into tangible. And who's not an artist? Create means art, art alone. Everything that you create that's one of its kind is an art. It can be copied but cannot be recreated. In other words, anything that you create that has its own essence, originality, is an art. And also, the word create suits only that way. Create art. If you said create, it must be art. If not, it's not create. The word you're looking for is copied, imitation, or mimicked. Well, it's not bad to be a hack, but please don't pretend to be an artist. It's not bad to copy, but don't pretend that you have created an art. I've seen people upload on their statuses and stories, whatnot, that go listen to my new composition. When I go there, it is a cover of somebody else's song. How can be your new composition? Anyway, being called an artist is easy. Being an artist is hard. But please choose the hard. Please be an artist in the world of hacks. Artist is not status quo. Being an artist is a responsibility. Summon enough courage to take that responsibility.
I hope you received excellent value in today's episode. To know more, head over to sanatkumarnahibi.com, and if you haven't already, check out my book The Flower of Fulfillment. Thank you for listening, and I wish you have a great day.